starting out together on a journey through the miracles inside. On a journey through the miracles inside.
Good morning and welcome to Unity of the Hill Country in Kerrville, Texas. We're here live with our virtual service on Facebook Live and on Zoom. Welcome everyone this morning. We have a nice group gathered on Zoom and hopefully we're going live on Facebook as well. I've been having some technical challenges this morning and so we're doing the best we can. If anything happens, and we'll do like we always do. We'll just go with the flow and make the best of it. So let's just take a moment and get centered in prayer because I certainly need it and you probably do as well. Close your eyes, please, together. Let's just take a deep breath in and release. And just for good measure, let's take another deep breath together and release that breath. Just allow the breath to bring us into this now moment. We're together. We're making this moment sacred. We're sanctifying this time together for the highest and the best for each and every one of us. We're claiming our good. We're claiming our truth in this moment. We open our hearts and our minds in gratitude. We accept this moment. We simply share our appreciation by saying thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen. Our opening statement here at Unity of the Hill Country in Kerrville, Texas, and many Unity centers around the world is the same statement as the first of our 5 basic Unity principles. And it goes like this: there's only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe. God, the good, the omnipotent. So we have a few quick announcements for you today. The contribution statements, if you've been looking for yours, are in the mail. And we mailed them on Friday, so they should be delivering to you locally here next week. Thank you to those of you who told us it wasn't necessary to mail yours. And we appreciate that because that way it saves us a stamp and an envelope and the mailing. So appreciate that. And if you remember last, I think it was August, that we had a guest speaker, Charles Holt, who is an athlete and a Broadway performer, and he did a message and song. And he'll be coming back on February 14th to give us a message of love. And as you know, love is one of the 12 spiritual gifts and powers that we all possess. And so he'll be right on target with our 12 Power series. And he's just so warm and intelligent and gifted. And I'm really looking forward to having him back with us. And I know you will enjoy that as well. At the last board meeting, we agreed a date and a time for the upcoming annual meeting. It'll be a little bit challenging this year because of the fact that we have to meet virtually. We can't meet in person. We will make a recording of all the reports. We'll put it together so it can be shared at the annual meeting. But we'll have it live here on Zoom. And we probably won't broadcast it on Facebook. It's a membership meeting, so we'll send out an email to all the members so that you have a link to go to watch the recording if you can't make it on Zoom. But we'll go through the usual reports and everything. The only thing that we won't be doing this year is electing a new board member. So A couple of board members resigned last year. Danny filled a space for someone who had a year left on their term. And one term expired at the end of the year, and we haven't replaced that person because the term was expiring so quickly. And so we'll just have 5 instead of 6 board members here for the next year, or until we can get back together and be able to do interviews in person. But during this unusual time, we just didn't think it was prudent to try to go through the whole process of nominating and finding people to add that extra role. But we will need to nominate a nominating committee chairperson. The nominating committee every year consists of 3 people: the chairperson, the board president, and myself. And so we will, or a representative of the board, which usually is the board president. But we will hopefully, by the end of the year, be able to be meeting again face to face, and we'll be able to look to members who have been with us at least a year, and see who is interested in serving on the board and fill that other position. Actually, by then we may have another couple of people rotating off, so we'll need about probably 3 board members. Anyway, that's what we'll be covering on the 21st, all of the finances and just a review of the year. You might not remember, but we actually did meet face to face, and we had some events the first 3 months of 2020. So we'll look back at our unusual year and look at it with gratitude and appreciation for all that we've been through together. So this is the time in our service when we focus on prayer. And let's take a moment now, and if there's anything on your heart or mind right now that you have not been able to submit through the prayer line at, by calling us in the office or by going online at unityhillcountry.org, or you could always contact Silent Unity directly. But your prayer requests that are submitted here locally, we pray over. We have a prayer team who prays over those prayer requests. And then they all get sent together at the end of each month to Unity at Silent Unity, which is Unity Village in Missouri. And then for 30 days, that prayer is held in a prayer vigil and prayer consciousness. For 30 days, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, someone is holding vigil. Even now, even when the call centers have reduced their hours and people are working from home at Unity Village, there are still people present holding the sacredness of prayer and holding high watch and truth for each and every one of your requests. So if there's something on your mind or your heart right now for yourself or another, just send it forth, and you can submit it one of many ways, and we will pray with you and for you. And we will claim the truth over your request. So right now, let's just take a moment and close our eyes. And together we take a deep breath. And we drop back into that prayer consciousness that we established at the very beginning. Settling in with the breath. In this moment, we know that there's no degree of prayer. There's none too great or too small for that absolute good in the universe we know is God. There's none that's more important or less important, whether your request is for health and well-being, finances, whether it's relationship, whether it's prosperity, it doesn't matter. All requests get the same resounding yes, 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 the same response, the absolute understanding of truth. Our way shower Jesus, the Christ, taught us to claim our good, to know, to pray affirming it is done. And in this moment, we claim it for each and every request, spoken, unspoken, written, or just held in thought in heart in this moment. For this truth, for this power, for this gift, we simply say thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen. The mission and vision of Unity of the Hill Country in Kerrville, Texas is to live consciously, celebrating the divine potential in all. Consciously, intentionally, always looking for that divine to celebrate. Potential is only a term. The divine is always there. The potential is in our potential to see it, not the potential for it to be there. It's always there 100% of the time. The divine, God, absolute good is always expressing. It's whether or not we choose to see it in ourselves and others, and whether or not we allow it to be. Today, our daily word reader is Patsy Sherman. Patsy?
Hello, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning.
Everybody hear me okay? Today's daily word is now. I find my power in this very moment. There is power in this very moment. Yesterday is past and tomorrow's not yet here. There is only this moment, ripe with promise and potential, ready for me to live into it fully. Through my many divine gifts, everything I need to get started is within me. I need not wait for the perfect moment to arrive because there is no time more perfect than now, and no more perfect than here. Procrastination has no place in my life. I fritter away my energy when I find reasons not to get started, losing my zeal and focus and inviting frustration into my life. Today, I claim the power of the present and say, this is the day I begin. Now is the time to begin, to serve, to forgive, to create, and to love. From 2 Corinthians 6:2, see, now is the acceptable time. See, now is the day of salvation. Again, today's daily word is now.
Thank you, Patsy. So you guys know that there is a problem. I mentioned that right off the top. I think it's my internet, but also my computer has been doing weird things and giving me weird messages today. And it has crashed in the past. So it don't know. So I apologize. I'm going to try this music. Mandy will text me if it doesn't sound good on your side. But this is our preparation for meditation. So I want you to be able to hear it. But if it's warbly and weird, I know that will be irritating and not relaxing. So Mandy will have to let me know if it doesn't sound good. Just take a deep breath and bear with us as we are dealing with technology. I have rebooted, for those of you who are wondering, I've rebooted my router, I've rebooted my computer, I have done everything within my power. I believe that it's my internet connection, and there's not anything I can do about that. So bear with us and hang in there.
I will surrender to my greatest, highest good.
And if you feel that love's my way, for every step I take is taken in your faith. And I am stronger every day. I'm reminded when my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and
Beverly said that she's going to drop out and try to come back in to see if that will help any because her audio just went completely off again. So we apologize for the technical difficulties.
Okay, just testing. Can you hear me? Mandy, will you send me a text or pop in and
Yes, we can hear you. I can hear you at least.
Is it warbly?
No, it's not. You sound great.
Okay. I tell you what we're going to do is we're just going to go and do the talk, and we'll meditate at the end of the talk because it's just too much interference right now. So thank you for hanging with us. I appreciate you being there. I'm kind of glad we were able to go live on Facebook, to be quite honest with you. We can always upload this later. So, will or won't? You've heard that before. Will they or won't they? That's the question. Will it work or will it not? Will the internet hold up? Will the internet buffer or won't it buffer? It's definitely buffering today, but that's okay. We're here. We can move through this. We can face our challenges, and we can come out on the other side of it with a smile on our face. And that's what we're doing today. So we've been talking for 4 weeks now about the 12 powers of man as outlined by Charles Fillmore in his book, The 12 Powers of Man. We've talked so far about the power of imagination, or we call it also the gift of imagination, the gift of wisdom, and we talked about how discernment is bringing in your intuition, that what's beyond the five senses, to help us to make decisions, to see things in a new way, to see things rightly. And we talked about order. I remember we had Sue Riley as our music and our speaker that week, and she talked about how an orderly environment has really helped her in her life, especially through this year. And last week we talked about how that in even what seems to be chaos, that mathematically there are patterns that are always going on. There is always divine order. There's always something orderly beyond what we can see in chaos. And it's ours, our choice to look for that order and to find that order in our lives. And we talked about how faith is that factor that allows us, we know for sure that it's beyond our comprehension at the moment, but we know for sure there's a greater good in it. Just like this morning, it's beyond our comprehension exactly how many different ways that technology can challenge us. But we know that we take the steps that we take and we can come back together. We can make the best of it, even if the challenges are beyond our cognitive level. Sometimes we just have to say, I'm doing the best I can do, and that's all I can do. And bless it and release it. Because right now I'm getting a message on my screen that says low system resources may affect your audio. Try closing some applications. I don't have any applications open. I've been getting that message several times this morning, and I don't have any applications open. So I'm going to close that little box, and we will keep our fingers crossed and our prayers in place, and we will move right along. And Mandy, if for some reason it drops or warbles more to the point where it's annoying, let me know and we will wrap things up quickly. So will and understanding are actually two separate spiritual gifts according to Charles Fillmore. And he talks about how will and understanding are very closely related. The understanding, comprehending all our speculative, and the will, all our active powers. So let me say that again. Will and understanding being closely related, and he talks about the powers being in the body. And if you're familiar with the chakra system of the yoga traditions, intuition is here between the eyes, and that's where he places will and understanding. And so will and understanding are closely related as far as their ability to express through us and their need for one another. And what he's saying is the understanding is comprehending all our speculative, all of the everything that we interpret everything that we analyze and use. Understanding, comprehend all that, and will is the action of it. So we take it in the information, we observe, we take in whatever information, including intuition, and then we take our active powers of will to put something into motion to demonstrate that gift. So our spiritual gifts of understanding is the understanding being the power to comprehend and interpret knowledge, make cognitive connections. And again, if you know that prefrontal cortex of the brain is where that cognitive ability sits. And, you know, we've talked in the past about how that part of the brain can actually be affected by our choices, which is the will, the power to choose, decide, direct, dictate, and determine. I've shared with you in the past how there's research that gratitude, writing gratitude letters, making gratitude lists, expressing gratitude and appreciation to others actually causes more firing of the neurons in the prefrontal cortex, which is where we learn and where we make decisions. So we can actually affect the development of these spiritual gifts. We can expand our ability to comprehend and interpret the information that we have and the experiences that we have by choosing gratitude and appreciation, even when the internet's wobbly and we have technical challenges going on. So in Romans 12:2, it's just Paul, the Apostle Paul, writing to the Romans. He's trying to get them to change their ways, to look at the way that they're making choices and the behaviors and the actions that they're having. He says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your minds so that you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. So he's trying to tell them that, you know, all of these behaviors that you have going on that are worldly and focused towards the world, these are not transformative. This focus is not transformative. It's temporary. And the renewing of your mind, keeping your focus on what is good, that absolute good of the universe, which we know is God, then we can understand from that inner voice, that Christ nature that's within all of us, what is ours to do. But we have to use that spiritual gift and connect in by choice. It's an action, that connecting in, that intentional going to prayer, that intentionally taking time to meditate. That is the action that we take. That's our will. And we have to be willing to make that choice, and we have to be willful, and we have to use our will to be dedicated to making that choice so that we have that deeper understanding of everything that's going on around us. He says further in verse 6 in that same chapter 12, we have gifts that differ according to the grace given to us. Prophecy in proportion to faith. So he went on to make a list of other things, that gifts that people have, and he was really talking to them as a community, as a broader group of people, as the church. He's saying we all have gifts, and we all of our gifts differ. We don't all love to pray out loud. I love to pray out loud, but not everybody does. We don't all have a strong intuition, but we can develop it more if we want to by being quiet and listening to that inner voice. We don't all have the same gifts, but our gifts together allow us to be a functioning community and support one another. And he's saying we don't all have the same gifts, but according to your faith. And that's what Charles Fillmore is telling us in the 12 powers, is that we can develop any of those 12 gifts within us. If we are in a position where we understand divine order very well, but we're not living in an orderly environment, we can choose by will. We have the understanding of the greater perspective, but we can choose on by our action to become more orderly in the way that we live. That's a challenge that I have, organizing and having things be ordered. But as far as divine order and trusting my guidance, my divine guidance, I don't have a challenge with that aspect of it. But my challenge is in that day-to-day, the human factor of it. So we all have these various ways that we can look at each and every one of the 12 powers, but they all exist within us. While he's saying here, as a community, you all have different gifts. We all have different gifts, different awareness. We all have the same gifts. We can all develop those gifts, especially the 12 powers, but we all have a different awareness of our connection and our ability to express these gifts. In this study by the Board of Scientific Affairs, the American Psychological Association, it's a report on intelligence, the knowns and the unknowns. And as far as people learning, it says individuals differ from one another in their ability to understand complex issues or ideas, adapt effectively to their environment, learn from their experiences, engage in various forms of reasoning, and overcoming obstacles by taking thought. They differ by taking thought. All of these abilities can be expanded within all of us. We can all be better at overcoming obstacles. That must be why I'm having this internet issue today, just so I can demonstrate to you that we're just going to go right on and make it work however we have to. We can all learn from our experiences. We don't always, sometimes we repeat the same thing over and over until we finally get that, that choice, that willfulness, that choice I'm making through my own will is having an effect that I don't want anymore. So by that experience, we can learn to make different choices. But we use that spiritual understanding to make the expression of our will, to choose differently. And sometimes the understanding of complex issues, some people grasp it quickly, and some people need to break it down. There's not one way better than the other. It's the way that our minds work. All of us have very unique minds, and they all work differently. One mind working one way complements someone else's mind working another way. It's not that we should all have the same thoughts. And look at our political environment. We're never going to all have the same thought process. And we're not going to all think the same thoughts. But if we can admire one another and accept one another for the fact that we are different, we can overcome anything. And that's how we overcome our obstacles, is we get our focus off of the obstacle, which is the difference between us, and we put it on the love and what we share. Albert Einstein said, any fool can know. The point is to understand. So have you ever known anyone who is really intelligent fact-wise? They can tell you exactly how something is, but they can't actually apply it to the world. You might know how the computer works, but if you can't actually operate it, you might be able to go in and repair it. But if you can't operate it, then it's of no use to you. And that's the same with all of our spiritual gifts. You might know that you have them, but if you don't take the time to assess and to embrace it for yourself, then you can kind of be left behind as far as developing and expressing the spiritual powers and gifts that are within you. Mark Hicks is a Unity minister, and he has written this book on metaphysical skills. Now, skills being creativity and confidence and flexibility and all these skills that are life skills, he's associated with the 12 powers, each of these pairs of powers that build these particular skills that we need to live and move and have our being. And he talks about will and understanding actually building confidence, which helps us to focus our attention and also to be more creative. So all of these powers interrelate and help us to develop skills to be a more complete and wholly functioning individual. Harvard School of Education, the Graduate School of Education, did a project called 0 Point. And here they were talking about how people learn and how people comprehend and understand, process information and express that back. And they say the depth of understanding is more empowering than a broad superficial knowledge. So knowing something more deeply, understanding it, is more powerful, more empowering to the individual, gives that confidence that Mark was talking about in his book. It empowers you more so than just having a lot of trivial information across a broader spectrum. And understanding is revealed through performance as opposed to what we know in our heads. So you can't really demonstrate your understanding of calculus just by talking about it. You actually have to reveal through performance. That's why in tests people say, the teachers always say, show your work, because you might get the answer, but what they really want to see is how you use the formulas and the understanding of how those formulas work in order to get the answer. And sometimes we don't know how we get the answer. Sometimes our intuition is stronger than our learning, and we just go straight to the answer. We can't always show our work, especially when it comes to spiritual gifts. But the understanding is revealed through that performance. How are you showing up? If it's something you can't put into a calculus formula, it has to be in how you live your life. Whether or not you have a spiritual understanding is demonstrated by the way you live and move and have your being. Further, they say deeper understanding involves restructuring schemas, is what they call it, but it's patterns of thoughts and behaviors, or that we hold and develop in a broader repertoire of patterns. So we have the ability to change, to restructure. That's what we're talking about, that prefrontal cortex, right? We learn new things and we can make different choices. This will and understanding is in this part of your physical body. It's also in that part, and it's not just Charles Fillmore writing this 100 years ago. This is actually science now, that they're proving that gratitude and appreciation gives us more firing off in that part of our brain. It helps us to learn and to be adaptive. It says learning how to learn new and challenging content is developing adaptive expertise. So learning how to learn, learning how to allow yourself to become available to all the gifts. It really just takes your intention and your focus and your action. It's a choice that you make. The fifth of our 5 unity principles is stated this way: knowing and understanding the laws of life, also called truth, are not enough. Knowing and understanding is not enough. A person must live the truth that he or she knows. So that's where will and understanding come together. You can have an understanding, you can comprehend it up here, but you have to live it. You have to live and move and have your being. You have to walk the walk, as they say. I'm going to read real quickly from Emily Cady's book, Lessons in Truth. She says, you may study with human teachers and from man-made books until doomsday. You may get all the theological lore of the ages. You may understand intellectually all the statements of truth and be able to pray healing formulas as glibly as oil flows. But until there is a definitive inner revealing of the reality of an indwelling Christ, through whom and by whom come life, health, peace, power, all things, A, who is all things, you have not yet found the friendship of the Lord. The friendship of the Lord, meaning that relationship with your own indwelling Christ. That's what we're here for. That's the whole purpose of coming into this human existence, is to learn who you truly are, that you are this beautiful being. You are the Christ incarnate in your own individual form. And we learn about metaphysical principles. We study the teachings from the Bible and from other different doctrine and ancient text. But until we put it into practice, until we walk the walk, we just don't really get it yet. The Buddha said, speak only endearing speech, speech that is welcomed. Speech, when it brings no evil to others, is a pleasing thing. This is one of the ways to walk the walk and talk the talk, is choose your words wisely. Choose your thoughts first. And if that thought doesn't feel harmonious to the love that you are in this world, choose another thought. You have that will, you have that power to choose another thought about a person, a situation, a circumstance. You can choose how you're showing up. In Proverbs 17:27 says, whoever restrains his words has knowledge, and he who has a cool spirit is a man of understanding. So being present in the face of what seems like unbearable circumstances, being cool of spirit, meaning calm, meaning aware, having an understanding that we might think we know things on a level of knowledge, but understanding that we don't understand everything. Allowing ourselves to be like little children. That's what Jesus taught. He said, make yourself like little children, because children are curious. Children are open. Children are accepting. When we can be this way, we can grow. We can express our Christ nature. So your practice this week is listening to understand. Sit still and open your mind and listen. Listen to that still small voice within you. Listen to the guidance that it's bringing. Allow yourself to follow that understanding. Make choices. Demonstrate what you know is truth. Demonstrate it in your life. Thank you. Well, I don't know if this song is going to play, but we'll try it since we haven't really had any music yet.
Well, I know that you haven't always seen eye to eye, but it's gonna be on again. So if we can come together and move on from where we've been, baby, you can count me in too. Give me some rhythm and give me a move. Give me a hot zone feeling that makes me wanna move. If we can find some soul, I just might lose. Baby, you can count.
So Mandy's telling me this music doesn't sound good. So I apologize for that, and thank you for your patience and your understanding today. I guess that's the lesson we had to learn, right? Is to be understanding of one another, of our challenges, and to be willing to just go with it. So let's take a moment now and just express our appreciation for the opportunity to give. We do appreciate you. The Board of Trustees and I have just been overwhelmed with gratitude of the generosity of spirit and the giving, the coming together in this unusual format. I know that it's not your preference. It's not what you'd like to be doing, but it does keep us connected. And at the end, when we can say hello to one another and see one another's faces, it gives us that chance to be connected. So we want to thank you for what you're giving online, what you're mailing in, your thoughts and prayers, those of you who are joining in our prayer opportunities. But let's just bless all of these things right now with our offertory blessing. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I send it forth with my blessings and my love. So the prayer of protection we share every week. It's a beautiful poem written by James Dillett Freeman. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for your patience and your understanding. We'll see you next week. I will check into whatever my internet challenges were. I do have a warranty coverage to support the computer. So hopefully we can get a service call in. We can see what's going on. But I appreciate everyone for being here today and hanging with us till the end. You can unmute yourselves and say hello and laugh out loud and
Yeah,
release.
that's about all we do.
Hello, hello.
Good morning, everyone.
Good
Yes.
morning. I see Carolyn and Mark and Gayleen and Hetty and Patsy. Of course, she read the Daily Word. Thank you for that. And Jack is there. Of course, you saw Mandy,
I guess
Danny,
Mandy's
Judy.
outside. Her hair's blowing so pretty.
Yeah, it has been.
No, she keeps a little fan, you know.
Yeah, that affects.
I see Karen's online and Jenny and Gar, Amanda, and also Jay Bailey from a different device. So thank you all for being here together.
Thank you,
Whether
If you want to
Beverly.
say something, you
or
can.
not, it's still enjoyable to be with everybody today.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
bless you, Patsy.
Love
Thank you.
all.
Okay, anybody have anything they want to share?
Just thanks for trudging through today.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Great. Got it through.
Yeah, the message came through, just a little garbled, but it came through.
We still heard it.
Adapt and overcome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just kind of keep going. Do the best
That's
we
right.
can.
it's life. Keep
Yes.
going.
Yes, definitely. I
God
see that
bless
we-
everyone.
Messages in the
Thank you, Carolyn.
chat. Oh, I see Amanda's message. Thank you for trying despite everything. And let's see what else. It's worth it. Okay. Yeah. Thank you all for your for your
Thank
chat
you, Beverly.
messages.
Namaste. Have a great day.
Namaste.
Namaste. I love
Keeping us
you.
all together.
Yes.
Yes, and thank you all for joining and being a part of keeping us together.
Amen.
Thanks for taking over, Mandy, a little bit to help.
Yeah.
Kind of being
Thank you.
a DJ,
No. Yeah.
video DJ.
Keeping it all-
DJ.
All right. Have a great day.
Okay, have a good week.
Fun.
Bye, everybody.